Let your spirit grow. Welcome to the Gardner Show. Okay, good morning, Beatrice. Good morning, JK. Once again, it's a beautiful morning here. My name is Gardner, and remember, it is our daily, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday call. It's a WhatsApp call. And in this call is where we deconstruct basic fundamental human principles that we can use to better ourselves and help us get on throughout the day, focused, determined, with courage to meet our life challenges head on as they come. My name is Gardner, and if you've just tuned in, if it's your first time, remember to leave a comment, remember to subscribe, remember to get to us. It's one way you help our community grow, and yeah, for free. So today our conversation is very interesting. We are going to talk about biblical principles. Last week, and on Monday, we're talking about finances, how to manage our finances. We're talking about money matters, how to get the finances, how to manage them, and how to grow them. And I thought it would be very important because many of us are Christians, would get some biblical concepts or principles that we can use to better our finances. And I could not go further than looking at King Solomon. King Solomon happens to be the wealthiest man who has ever lived on this planet. And we know that we are human beings, we live clues. And out of those clues, that means we can better ourselves, learn from him, and see how we can do better, grow our money, and also manage our money. So, our discussion today is interesting. I'm very excited. But before we jump into the discussion, I want to ask you, how many of you would learn or would love to know these principles behind the richest man who ever lived? I know many of us are excited, definitely. But today, I want to bring it out to speed that we are not going to study about the economics that we study in school. Neither are we going to study the people that work in Chikubo here in Kampala. Neither are we going to study the people that go on sports betting and are betting the last penny they have. But we are going to study from the timeless financial truth that is hidden right inside that Bible, or that book that we call the book of principles. And the Bible, ladies and gentlemen, is not a book about how we can get rich. That's a misconception, because many of us think that the Bible, when we look at it, is a book that teaches us how to get rich. I want to differ and tell you and remind you and emphasize that the Bible tells us how wealth works. It doesn't tell you how to get rich, but it does tell you how wealth works. And Solomon's wealth wasn't an accident, it wasn't a result of gambling, but he portrayed the five divine principles, timeless truth that still governs success and prosperity today. And I want to bring it out to speed still that when we talk about success, success is something that is measured differently. The success, I think, is not the success Beatrice thinks. It's not the success that Lamis thinks. It's not the success that JK thinks. Because somebody once said that success is the deliberate realization of a worthy idea. That realization, that worthiness is based on you, not based on what people expect of you. So your own success can be defined according to how you want to define it. So when we talk about biblical principles that will help us manage our finances for success, we are trying to equate success to how you would define it and how you would want it to be. And the first principle that I got to learn from King Solomon is that wisdom precedes wealth. That's the first principle of building your financial success. Wisdom precedes wealth. If you go to First Kings chapter 3 verse 9, I read, "Give your servant therefore an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. Give your servants therefore an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil." That is the underscore. The words here is servant. The second word is understanding heart, to judge or discern between good and evil. King Solomon did not ask for money. He did not ask for riches. He asked for wisdom. Wisdom simply means the ability to discern between good and evil. Wisdom simply means the ability to understand. And understanding does not start from your brain. No, it starts from your heart. Because it's the heart that is the center of man's understanding. The brain is just full of memory, full of thought, full of information. And when you're loaded with information, thought, and memory, you are not able to discern because you're trying to tap onto what you think is right. But when you start to understand with your heart, the heart is the center of compassion, it is the center of understanding. So you're able to know what is good and bad. And because King Solomon had to put understanding first, which falls in the heart, God gave him both. He gave him wisdom and gave him wealth. So here we see that understanding gives us what we desire. And what we desire starts with us seeking for wisdom, not seeking for wealth, not seeking for prosperity, but seeking for understanding, from which understanding we derive wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, wisdom is just like when you have soil, and money is the fruit. If you water the soil, if you nurture the soil, if you cultivate the soil, the fruit will come naturally. Remember, the fruit is the money. So stop looking for the fruit, but start nurturing the soil, because it's out of the soil that the fruit grows to become that of which it was intended to become. We have seen in our generation, millennials and Gen Zs, most of us are spending a lot of time gambling. We want to win the lottery. But the people that have won the lottery, the people that have gambled and got something, when you study them, they have lost it in less than a year. Or if you give them 5 years and meet them, they'll have nothing. Why? Because you can gain wealth, but you can never gain the capacity to handle it. Many of them are overwhelmed by the money they have won in the jackpot. But they forget that they do not have the skills, they do not have the capacity, they do not have the mindset of money to manage it, to grow it, and keep it. I want to ask you, how many of you have ever prayed to get money? Hey, I've been there. I have prayed several times to get money until I understood King Solomon's principles of wisdom, seeking understanding. Then I stopped asking for money. Now I pray for wisdom and understanding, because we have said wisdom and understanding is the soil. If you nurture it right, if you fertilize it, if you water it, it will bring forth the fruit. And the fruit we say it is money. The fruit we say it is wealth. The fruit we say it is prosperity. So seek understanding and wisdom, and money, wealth, and prosperity will come to you, because those are the fruits. So start to pray less for more income and pray for more insights. Because it's out of insights, it's out of wisdom, it's out of understanding that you are able to get what we desire. The second principle I learned from King Solomon in terms of building our finances and growing our money, growing our wealth, is that we need to learn how to build relationships. It's out of relationships that we are able to grow our revenue. Proverbs 13:20 says, "He who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed." I repeat, he who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed. If you are there, yesterday I sent a link for our group and I asked us members, are we able to share this link to 5 of our groups or to 5 of our friends? And this was the principle behind it. Because if you are in company of 5 fools, congratulations, you're going to become the 6th fool. If you're in company of 5 wise men, congratulations, you're going to become the 6th wise man. Why? Because the Bible tells us that who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will destroy you. So foolishness destroy you. And the biggest challenge we have today in managing, growing, and understanding our finances starts from ignorance, which is more or less of foolishness. Solomon did not build wealth by isolation. No, he never. He built wealth through allies. He aligned himself with Hiram of Tyre. He aligned himself with traders. He aligned himself with leaders from distant land. Why? Because he know traders, leaders, and those wise men are the ones that are going to give him what he desires. Who are you aligning yourself with? What relationships are you building? Because we have been told that relationships create revenues. In First Kings chapter 5, we see that King Solomon had to go out and partner with Hiram so that he would get sender and craftsmen. Those are the things that people desired during that time. But he knew because he could not have them, there is another person who had them, and that was Hiram. Hiram had sender, he had craftsmen, and when he partnered up with them, he got the sender, he got the craftsmen, he got the trade, he got the revenues, he got the leaders back to his land. There is a famous African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. This principle teaches us how to create relationships. How can we relate not only with ourselves, but with the people around us? I want you today to look at the contacts you have in your phone and ask, what's the connection? What's the relationship? Are you networking or you're net weaving? Because I want to remind you that King Solomon reminds us that God often answers prayers through people, not miracles. If you want to go there and expect miracles, congratulations, you're going to fail. But if you connect and get people, then God is going to answer you because He answers us through people. I want to tell you that the poorest man on this planet is not the man without money. I repeat, the poorest man on this planet is not the man without money, but the man without relationships. If you're there and you cannot connect and weave, you will die miserable and poor. I want to also remind you that your network is not just your social net. Your network is directly proportional to your net weave. Are you able to weave with the people around you? I've told you, look at your contacts in your phone. Have you only connected or you have weaved? Weaving simply means, are they able to speak on your behalf when you're not in that room? Net weaving simply means, are they able to connect you to a service, to a product that will better you? Net weaving simply means, are they able to put value when you are not in the room? So Building relationships will multiply not only your net worth, but your net value. And that will start from you being able to weave, to show your value, to be able for people to understand you, because relationships build trust. And once there is trust, you'll earn. So remember that people are a vessel through which God rewards you of your efforts and of your desires, not just being there waiting for miracles. The third principle we learned from King Solomon in how to manage our finances and grow them is that diligence over desire. You need to be diligent enough. Proverbs 10:14 reads, lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. I repeat, lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. Solomon said, go to the ant, you sluggard. Go to the ant, you sluggard. The ant does not wait for opportunities, it prepares for opportunities. The question I want to ask you is, how prepared are you for opportunities? We normally say that luck comes to the prepared. What are you doing today in line with what you want to desire, do, and have in life? Are you waiting for an opportunity to come so that you can become, or you're becoming so that opportunity can find you becoming? They normally tell us that God picks people who are already on the road to Canaan. Are you walking? Are you preparing yourself? The greatest athletes we know of are not those that just go on the tarmac and run that day. They are those that have spent tireless times preparing to run that day. So it is preparation meeting opportunity that we derive what? Success. So success, what I'm trying to say is that success does not come to those people that just wish for it to come. It will never come. It comes to those people that work, that put in the energy, that put in the force. And this does not have to wait for when somebody is watching you. No, it is what you do when nobody is watching you. You're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the time. And that's what builds the financial muscle. We are told that if today the money we have in the world is withdrawn from each and every one of us and we go back to zero, and after a month it is brought back into the society, the people who had the money will have the money again. Why? Because they have built the financial muscle. They have the plan, they have the skill, they have the knowledge, they have the understanding, they have been preparing, and that will make them have the muscle again, have them the money again. If you go back to the story of Joseph, it has a lot to teach us about financial management and preparation. If you look at Joseph's story, whether he was in the pit, whether he was in Potiphar's house, whether he was in prison, he prepared himself for the journey. The journey towards what? Becoming the king he wanted. Journey towards becoming. So he worked every step with diligence. And God promoted him. He became who he was because he was diligent enough to put in the work, to put in the effort, to put in the skill, to prepare himself to become that of which he had seen in his dreams. I want to ask you, what do you see when you dream? What is in your vision? What is on your goal chart? What do you see? Because it's out of what you see that you prepare for yourself for that financial muscle. Not just wishing, no, preparation and diligence. What is your diligence? What is in the wardrobe of your diligence? I want to remind you that faith without action is dead. It's an illusion. God will bless the prepared and then the hopeful. So diligence is another aspect on how we can manage our finances. Not only manage, but grow them. Because out of preparation, out of working, out of diligence, then we are building a muscle that is able to manage our finances when they come into play. Not only manage them, but also to grow them. We have seen people who have gotten money, but later go back to scratch. Why? They lack diligence, they lack the preparation, they lack the money, they lack the process. The fourth principle, which is the second last principle, is that for us to be able to grow our money and finances and manage it, based on King Solomon's mindset, is that we need to have a sense of integrity. Because integrity attracts wealth, integrity attracts prosperity, integrity attracts finances. So, integrity attracts increase in the things that we do. Proverbs 28:20 says, a faithful man will abound with blessings. A faithful man will abound with blessings. But he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. I repeat, a faithful man will abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. This simply means that when you look at or when you study Solomon, you realize that his empire thrived because his word was trustworthy. People traded with him because his character was gold before his coffer were. Integrity is the underscore. It is the trust that brings people to buy from you over and over again. Integrity, the trust that brings people to you over and over again. Integrity is the trust that attracts money, that attracts wealth. Why? Because that is what you are. You mean what you say and say what you mean. You keep your promise. The challenge is that integrity is invisible. It's more or less of an invisible currency. And if your handshake is stronger than your contract, God can trust you with more. If your handshake simply means that if you mean what you say, then God is going to trust you with more. People are going to trust you. People are going to be attracted to you. People are going to come to you. You remember Abraham in the story of in Genesis. Abraham refused the spoil of Sodom. He said, I will not take a thread or sandal strap, lest you say, I made Abraham rich. Because of his integrity. Integrity simply means, are you who you are when nobody is watching you? Do you mean what you say and say what you mean? How many of us know that doing right pays? Every time you do something right, you'll get a reward, either in spirit or in flesh. Even when we seem to believe or think that it will not, it will come. How many of you have ever asked yourself? I know two people in the group that are in business. I know Lami, I know Ajeke, I know who else? I think those ones are the ones that I'm very sure of. You get up in the morning, you have your product, you have your service, you open doors, but you do not know who is going to walk in that day. You put up adverts, but you do not know. And the question is, why? Have you ever asked yourself why people walk into your shop, why people buy your service, why people buy your product? They bring their money and buy and give it to you. Have you ever thought about it? That's where the word amen is derived from, a person with faith. You have faith that whatever you are selling is going to be sold, or whatever service you're providing is going to be sold. And that starts with integrity. Are you trustworthy? Can people relate with you? Do you have a relationship? Are you emotionally connected? Because we know that we buy because of emotions and justify because of logic. And this starts with the small things you do. Thank you, you're welcome, the reward, the effort, the conversation you build about the sale of the service. is what brings the finances to you. So integrity does not cost. It pays dividends. It pays in peace. It pays in promotion. It pays in monetary terms. And if you're running a business, if you're running a service, integrity should be the only thing, not among the things. The only thing, because it's what bridges you to your customers or to your clients. I want to remind you again that God is not looking for clever people. He's not looking for intelligent men. He's looking for trustworthy people. And he says, if you can be trusted with less, you can be trusted with more. So seek trust, seek integrity in pursuit of your financial freedom. And the fifth principle that I learned from King Solomon that I want to share with us is that generosity multiplies prosperity. I repeat, generosity multiplies prosperity. Go to Proverbs 11:25. It says, the generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. I repeat, the generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Ladies and gentlemen, a candle does not lose its worth. It does not lose its sight. It does not lose its flame when it lights another candle. It doesn't. But the more it lights other candles, the more the flame becomes bigger, the more people look, the more people have to see, the more it prospers, the more it multiplies. We know King Solomon built temples. Temples were a gift to God, bringing people together, bringing people to pray, bringing people to commune. Generosity, because he knows the effect of multiplication. And God blessed him because King Solomon was blessing others by building temples for them to worship, for them to commune and connect. He did not hoard the resources he had, he poured out. How much are you pouring out today? How much are you holding to yourself? Because the Bible tells us whatever you don't use, you forfeit. But whatever you use, you grow. Whenever you pour out, somebody pours in. If you let go, you let God in. If you hold on, you let God out. The same happens with financial principles. The other day, Jackie was teaching us about multiplying our finances, and she said, have multiple incomes. Multiplication. Every time you invest in something, you're multiplying your finances. You need to pour out. When you have that money and hold on to it, you're becoming a slave to it. You're not growing it. Think about this. If I give you 1 million today and you keep it under your bed, if I come back 2 years later, I'll find you with 1 million. Have you grown it? No, you've not grown. You're static. And once you're static, you start to smell. And once you start to smell, you get spoiled. And when you get spoiled, you die. The same thing happens with money. That's why we derive the principle that whatever you don't use, you forfeit. But if I give you that 1 million and you go out and start a small shop, it will multiply. If I give you that 1 million and you invest in a unit trust, maybe every month it will give you 10,000 or 1,000. Even if I come after 3 months, you'll have 1,003,000. You're better off than the person who just kept it and still has 1 million. If I come after a year, I'll find you with 2 million, maybe, because every day it's giving you 1,000. Or if it's giving you 1,000 every month, that means I'll find you with, calculate, there is a multiplication effect. If you go out and look, do you know why a swamp is called a swamp? It does not have an outlet. And once you move closer to swamps, they smell, they are stagnant. But a river that flows is clean. It's natural. And it does not run dry. If you remember still the story of Zarephath and the widow to Elijah, we know that she gave her last. She gave her last. and her jug never got empty again. Stop hoarding, trade. Stop hoarding, invest. Stop hoarding, give. Because it's out of giving that you receive. It's out of trading that you multiply. It's out of investing that you multiply and grow. So remember that every time you release, you are going to grow. And if money cannot grow through you, it won't stay with you. I repeat, if money cannot grow through you, it won't stay with you. So be reminded that generosity is heaven. It's a heavenly investment plan because it gives a very persuasive multiplication effect. Why? Because money is supposed to grow through you. And how does it grow through you? Are the 5 principles we have covered. And out of those 5 principles, then we are able to grow. We are able to multiply. And today, as we conclude, I want us to think back and ask God to give us understanding to handle what you already have. Ask Him, give me understanding to handle what I already have. And also give me the wisdom to prepare for what is coming. Because there is one thing for you to understand what you already have. And when the coming is bigger than what you have, you become crazy, you become mad, you go insane because you cannot handle the blessing. So ask for wisdom for you to be able to prepare and handle what is coming because it is going to come. And I want you to also identify 5 people this week from your contacts that you can grow with, that you can serve, that you can bless. 5 people you can serve, you can bless, you can grow with. Because we said your network is directly proportional to your net worth. Net worth. And the people around you contribute to who you become. So be selective and know whom do I want to grow with. And learn how to start giving at your current level. You don't need to give 1 million if you don't have it. Give what you have, give what you can. Don't wait to be rich to start being generous. Be generous and you'll be rich. Because a hand that gives is the hand that receives. So, finally, my thoughts today, friends, colleagues, let's understand the mindset behind King Solomon's success and greatness. It wasn't in what he owned, but in what he understood. I repeat, King Solomon's wealth and success was not in what he owned, it was in what he understood. Wealth is not something that we chase, it's something you attract by becoming the kind of person that God can trust with abundance. And it doesn't have to be many things or big things, it starts with the small things. The question I want to leave you with, are you becoming a person God can trust with the little thing He wishes to bless you with? My prayer for us is that may your barn overflow, may your heart overflow, and may your life overflow with wisdom and understanding. And I pray that success and prosperity finds its home in you. Thank you so much. This is what I thought would discuss today on how King Solomon can help us manage our finances, help us grow, help us understand, and help us be better. If you have any question, feel free to send in the questions. Feel free to let me know comments or anything you'd want to understand better. The floor is now open.
Thank you so much, Dr.